So we'll start off by installing the Apache web server. So for that, you need to run the sudo apt-get install Apache 2 command. And it's asking for the sudo password because you use it as a super user, and it's been done. So you can just go to your web browser now and just type in localhost, and it will give you the basic configuration page of the Apache web server, which shows that it's been installed successfully for you. Now just just to like stop it, you just need to run this command and it will stop the Apache server. So for the next part of our video, we'll be installing the database server, which will act as the backend for our Django application. You can use any database server for this, but I'll use MySQL for this, and I'll show you how to install it on the system. So you just need to run this apt command, which will take care of all the requirements for whatever you need to integrate your server with your Django application. So you'll be installing the SQL client as well as the server along with the dev environment and also the page in case you don't have it installed already. So this single command will take care of all these installations at one go. So I already have this installed on my system. Now you can just check if it's working for you or not. You can just do so basically you will be signing in as a root user. So I already have this set up on my system, but when you do it initially, you will be asked to configure it and you will be asked for a password, which will be your root password for the system. So this is what the SQL looks like. Now what we need to do, we need to create a user for a path. We need to create a user for a project. So for this, so let's carry on with creating a database first. So just run this command when you open up your SQL server. This basically creates a database called project for me. So this creates a database. Now what you need to do is you need to create a user for your project, and you can do this by by this command, which creates the user named my project user, which will be identified by this password. So you can write anything there, but for simplicity I'll just leave it as password. So next what we need to do is we need to grant all privileges to our user. For this you just need to run this command, which will basically grant all privileges of the database project to your current user, which is named as my project user. And that is it for the installing part. So for the next part of our video, we'll deal with installing with creating the Django application. I already have this done on my system, but I'll run you through the process of doing this. So first, create a directory where you want to create your Django application. So my directory is Django apps 1, as you can see. Now you should have virtual environment installed on the system. Now once you have that up and running, just run this command to activate your virtual environment after you create it on the same directory where you want to create a Django application. So now as you can see, I am in the virtual environment. Now here you should install Django and Django admin tools. Okay, so after this is done, you should just go and start a new project by running this command, which and name it whatever, let's say 123 or something. Okay, so now you will see that we have created a basic project. So let me just go there. As you can see, this is the project we just created, and this will look something like this. Now I'll run you through the process of what you need to change in these files. So this is the project which I already have created on my system. So as you can see, I already have all these files open here. Okay, so first and foremost, you need to go to the settings.py file, and here you will have to first change your time zone to whichever place you are. Okay, so after you've changed your time zone, what you need to do is you should go to the models.py file, which is already there on your system after you create your app, and right here you need to give the details for your super user which you're going to create. So for me, it's called admin table, and it stores the username and the password of the admin of the Django system. So after you're done with that, you should go to the urls.py and just add this to the path, this admin site.urls, and every time you're done with that, you should be running a python 3 manage.py migrate. So what it basically does is it applies all the changes which you have done to your Django application. And since I haven't changed anything, so it shows no migrations to apply. Uh, Keep doing this, and don't forget to do this after you make changes to your application. So after you're done making changes to the urls.py file, just head on to your admin.py file. It should be located in the form directory of the app, and just add these two lines of code to import the admin table which we have just created, so that we can use this further on. And after this, we are ready to create our admin. So you just need to run the command. See, now you have to create the admin to your application. I just choose the name as ABCD. Make sure you choose a strong password, but we just carry on with a very simple one right now. So after this, you have created a super user which is the admin. So now we can run the server of our Django app, and it works without any errors. So we will go to our browser, type in localhost admin, see, and now just enter the name of the admin which you just created. Now you should be seeing this. Now this admin tables is what we have already created in the models.py file. Now to add users to your Django application, just click on the add menu, and this should pop up. Now let's say we want users for our application. So I'll just add ABCD again. You can add multiple users. I'll just keep a simple password, and I'll just save. So now you can see that my list of users is this. I had already created these previous users, and you can check that I created one more user with my new admin, which is ABCD. It shows it right here. Okay, so now that we've created our admin and added users to our application, we need to create a sort of form so that we can access, so that the user that we have added right now, for example ABCD, we can log into our system as that user. So to do that, you will need to create a form.py file in your form directory, and I've already written this, and it's just a basic normal login form which just takes a username and password, and basically what it does is checks with the database whether or not my username and password match the ones that I've already added to my database, and otherwise it raises an exception, user not exists. So you'll do that, and furthermore you will need to make a basic HTML page, which in my templates folder. Yeah, so I'll just open this one, and this is just a basic login form which I have created with just the like login where you can log in with your user, and be sure to make migrations after this. Okay, so now I'll tell you how to integrate it with the MySQL server which we've already done in the earlier part of the video. So to do that, we'll go to settings.py again, and here initially you can see this part. This is the default database which Django uses. It uses the SQLite 3 database, but we want to use our own MySQL server. So what we do is you just add these lines of code in your databases tuple. So here what you will do, uh, you should remember the user of your MySQL server, and you just fill in this information by whatever and by whatever you created with your password, your user, and the name of your database. So with this, we'll be able to integrate our Django app with the MySQL server, and this part will be done, and you'll be almost done with your Django application. And be sure to migrate your changes after you do this. So okay, now I'll just run the server again. Okay, and this time we go and head on to the form part of our application, and we just created the ABCD user, and I'll just enter the password, and it gives me success because I already have that user created. Now let's say I wanna go with some random name. I obviously don't have this user created in my database, so it gives me a user does not exist exception, which we've already managed through our files. So this is what your application should be working like.